Today I'm going to show you some of the steps I take to test a PBN to see if it's healthy, and then to test a PBN if I want to see like how powerful this thing is. It's a little bit more complicated. Not too many people do this, but it's a really good tool to have in your toolbox, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so I'm going to use my agency site as the example here. It won't be perfect because it's already up and indexed, but you can get the idea. So this is saying that you won a domain at auction or you bought it somehow, and a PBN is a domain that's been online before. It's got some links going to it, so it's powered up, and it went offline for whatever reason. You picked it up, and you're going to use this thing to build links to your website that you're trying to rank. So before you do that, you kind of want to get some idea of, is this thing healthy? And sometimes you want to kind of get an idea of how powerful this thing is. So you got to get it online and hosted, and then hopefully indexed, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is a site colon search, determine solutions, right? And so this will show me if there's any weird stuff indexed, like maybe there might, now it might not show you anything, but sometimes it'll show you like some weird foreign language that you don't really want, or maybe it'll show you like NFL jerseys when the site, like maybe it's Determined Solutions and they're trying to sell NFL jerseys when it's like a site about SEO and marketing, you know, or Viagra, buy Viagra online or something like that. You're looking for weird stuff. And if you don't see that, that's fine. Well, you kind of want to do that before you bought it, but whatever. So if you do this search and you see it, that's a good first step, especially if you put like 2, 3, 4 test post articles on it and they're indexed, that's a good first step. Then you want to remove the site colon and just do the domain the naked domain itself. If it's the first thing you see, that's another good step. So then what you want to do after that is remove the .com. And is remove the dot. It could be .org, .net, like it doesn't matter. You want to remove the dot, but leave the TLD, the top level domain. That's the .com, .net, .org. But just remove the dot, right? And if it shows like this, then you know that's another good sign. And then you just want to keep going, right? You want to do something like that, all the, you know, because that's going to be what the actual domain is. So that's why I want that, because it gets harder and harder to rank for your actual brand name. And so like the more you see this, if it's going this far, that means it's a good, like it's usually a pretty good PBN. And then of course, if it ranks for its brand name like that, that's good news. So like my site, if you bought it for like $1, would be a pretty good PBN. Not that it's super powerful, but it's definitely healthy. So another thing you can do is if when you do this, if it doesn't show up, you see, so the website's domain name is Determined Solutions, but you see how the homepage title says Determined Solutions SEO. So you could add something to the page title. I generally like to use a weird word. And when I mean weird word, like a made up word, like I'll just make something up like H4693 or just some weird word that you're like SEO, there's going to be just way more competition for it. It's going to be a harder thing. There's actually people that search for it. So when you're testing the strength of a PBN and like the health, just pick a weird, obscure word or make up a word. But in this case, you can go like that. And if Google is not slow, right? And it still shows up. So that's good. Or you could go like this. And if it still shows up, that's means the site's probably still okay. One of the things where this gets tricky, these techniques, is when there are hyphens in the domain name. Some domains have hyphens in them. And because of that, they can index, like doing all these little tests, it just gets weirder. I'm sure like a Google developer might be able to tell you why, but it makes these tests harder. And sometimes your domain will kind of pass some of these tests, and you're like, I think this is healthy, I'm not sure. And you're using these to link out to the website that you're trying to rank. So you want to make sure that these links are healthy. And sometimes you get a little nervous. You're like, I'm not sure, like maybe it's passing some of those tests, not all of those tests. Well, that's when you do this kind of weird technique that my buddy taught me. I've used it. I'm actually testing some domains right now with this technique. And let me show you what it is. And specifically, I'm doing it on a domain that I think I'm like 100%, I'm 99% sure it's a powerful domain. It's a former business. I know the business. I'm in this niche, but it has hyphens in it, and they can just act weirder. So I'm doing this test. I don't think I spelled hyphens correctly. Okay, so like here's an example. I don't even know. I just made this up. This is probably not a real company. But Anderson HVAC and Plumbing, because a lot of companies do HVAC and plumbing. And the person, when they created the domain, it's like, my last name's Anderson, I do HVAC and plumbing, and maybe AndersonHVACplumbing.com wasn't available, so they do this. Like you're gonna find domains like this. In general, I try and stay away from them, but sometimes they got really good links. But in general, because they index so weird, I don't do that. I stay away from them. But sometimes, like in this case, I've got it, right? Like, you buy them. So how do you test them? So in this case, okay, let's forget about Anderson. Let's say that the domain name is domain xyz domain.com, right? So the domain is xyz. So this technique works whether it has the hyphen or not, right? So we have this domain, it's xyzdomain.com. The homepage title of the domain is xyzdomain.com, running shoes and accessories. Let's say we've got a sports blog or our website's about running or something. We're building this PBN to build a link to our site about running. So it's got to be somewhat related, right? So that's the homepage title. So we're going to do a test. What we're going to do is we're going to do a test post. Like we've already got it up and hosted. We want to see if when we link to something, if it moves the needle in a positive direction. So we're going to put a test post on the site, and we're going to say, we're going to come up with something kind of random. We don't want something competitive. We want something fairly random for the title of the article. So in this case, how to use an untangler kit for quantum shoelaces. Now, these aren't real, right? And it doesn't make any sense, but you can get, AI to spin you up an article about this, right? So, it could just be like anything, but you want it to be like fairly obscure. It doesn't have to be totally made up, but you want it to be like long and like kind of long tail, like a longer title to the article, right? And then here's the main thing you want to do. You want to do anchor text and link out to another website, a test website. This is not even your website that you're going to link out to. I'm going to show you how to do this. But you want the anchor text to be long, made up. You just are seeing if this thing is going to rank. So you don't want it to be competitive, right? You don't want to be like best protein powder. You don't want to do that. You want it something like long, weird words, something made up, right? So in this case, it's beginner-friendly quantum shoelace untangler kit, right? Whatever that is. So what I would do is I would take this and I would come to Google and I would paste it in there, right? Now, you don't have to have Ahrefs or my tools, my keyword tools. You don't need that, right? You can just do this, but it does help in this I'll show you why. So beginner-friendly quantum shoelace untangler kit. Now remember, that is going to be the anchor text that we link out from on this article. This is the anchor text. So we basically don't want anything on the first page, go to the second page, and see how there's not many, there's only 2 pages of results for this because it's weird made up stuff. And in general, I'm looking for something, because I do have this tool, I'm looking for a low DR, the lower DR, right? I want to see if it's going to move. So high, because the higher DR, more, it's going to make it like easier to move. So in this case, I'd probably go for this right here. This page. DR27, it's the lowest on the second page. It's like 2/3 of the way down the second page of the search results for this. So in my article about how to use an untangler kit for quantum shoelaces, somewhere in the article, I'm going to have this anchor text, and I'm going to link out to this. I'm going to link out to this URL, and that's going to be it. I'm going to post that article, and then I'm going to drop this into an indexer to make sure it gets indexed, right? And then I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to track this URL for this search, because this is going to be an exact match, right? And there should be like no competition. So if this thing is healthy, right, it should move this URL to the first page, and really probably towards the top of the first page for that search result. You see what I'm saying? So instead of this being on towards the bottom of page 2 where it is now, after several days, a week, 2 weeks, who knows, it should move up onto the first page and ideally towards the top of the first page. Now, if that's what happens after like 2 weeks, your domain is good to go. That's a good PBN. Now, you don't have to do this on all PBNs. And if you do this and it like knocks it up there like really quickly, that's probably a pretty strong PBN. Again, you don't have to do this with everyone, but like I'm doing it with a site right now that has has 2 hyphens in it actually, because it is just, I wanted to make sure. So you do this with domains that you want to take extra precaution with and be like, I think this thing is working. I don't know. It's acting weird. So this is a test you can do. You gotta try it a few times before you understand. It's not that complicated. Basically, you're trying to rank for a super obscure thing that maybe doesn't even exist. And if it moves it, that's a positive direction. You can see Google's algorithm working, because this is probably going to be the only thing out there relevant for this long tail, weird anchor text that you hit it with, right? And that's SEO. That's how a link works. And if it moves up, good. After 2 weeks, if it's like down on the second page, like when you like a lot of times when you make a link, there'll be some up and down movement. But if you like wait a few weeks and it's still going down and the trend is down, then that's probably crappy domain, and you'll just get rid of the domain. That link will fall off. And yeah, that's how you do it. I know this one is a little bit complicated. If you do have any questions, leave a comment below. And if you would like to do a video call with me where I look at your website and figure out how we can get more traffic to it by getting it to the top of Google searches, you can schedule a call with me on Clarity. I'll tell you everything I know on a video call. I love helping small, medium, large businesses, e-com businesses, affiliate businesses. It doesn't matter. I've done maybe not all of it, but a lot of basically every type of SEO you can do. And that is it for today's video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you thought it was terrible, please give me a thumbs down so I can learn to do it better next time. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.